live.
Hey, how's it going?
Going well. How are you two doing?
Doing good. We
You
have a
live
dead back.
Yeah,
you, you're living the life down in San Diego for this week?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
We're staying at the place that you and I stayed with Jeff up on the hill. The
Nice.
Stairway to Heaven, remember?
Yeah. That's a nice place. Great location. Walking distance to Hash House a Go Go.
Yep,
That's our morning plan.
yep. That's
Yeah,
correct.
yeah. For those who have not been to Hash House a Go Go, if you ever get the chance, you have to go. It's amazing.
Especially in San Diego. It's the original.
That's the original, yeah.
Yeah.
Are there's two in San Diego, aren't there?
No,
Or is that just one? Okay.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely worth the trip though.
Oh, yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. You're gonna see me log in my phone. I'm not gonna put it up on the screen. I just want to be able in case I need to answer anything on comments and stuff like that.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So before we get into things, it's been big in the news about airline travel and things like that. How was your trip out there? Did you guys have any issues?
None at all.
Oh, it's perfect.
We fly Delta usually anymore, and both of us are elevated statuses. So we were actually got upgraded to comforts. We had great seats,
Great.
and we get free drinks. And first one was, here's your little can and here's your cup. We're great. Come back a little. Would you like another drink? Sure. And they just bring us the drink, and it was doubles. And then tell them about the guy that was sitting next to us.
Oh, yeah. We had an elderly gentleman sitting between us, 84 years old. And about an hour into the flight, he starts talking a little bit, and he starts drinking with us. So we're 5 drinks in, and we're just chatting. We're having a good time. And he's telling us about how he was a Pan Am pilot back in the day, and he was in the service, and how when he lived in Berlin, and he saw the wall go up in Berlin, and he was there when they tore it down. And he was telling us the stories of living over in Russia. Yeah.
Laura's chiming in saying that you will bankrupt Delta with your free drink specials.
Yeah, they were offering, so we were taking. But
Hey.
but yeah, it was a really enjoyable flight. We had a conversation with this gentleman.
You added.
Yeah.
You want that off, right?
Yeah, I got it off. We're good.
Okay.
It automatically does it for some
Got it.
reason on tablets and that. So
Sorry for the interruption, Kevin.
No, you're fine. We had such a great flight. It went so fast because we were just having such a great conversation and lots of drinks. Yeah, it was no problem at all. We got in actually a hair early, I think, and we were at the Airbnb. We left Detroit at 12:15, and we were here at the Airbnb by 3.
Nice.
California time.
Yeah.
But,
Right.
Yeah, we landed. It would have been it was about 4.5 hour flight. So we landed just before 5 o'clock. Well, actually, we landed about 4:30 Detroit time.
Yeah.
And then once we got our bags and got over here, it was like 5:30, 5:45. Jeff met us here, and
traffic wasn't bad at all.
Yeah, it was like 2:30, 3 o'clock. Yeah, it was great. And then so we got checked in, got a nice little place here. We ended up going to what's it called, Fern
Hill.
Let me look it up.
I think we found that we stayed over on the other side of town, on the other side of Balboa Park last year.
Fernside.
Yeah. It's called North Park is the neighborhood, and we found this little bar pub restaurant, very unique. But they have a combo where you get a half-pound smash burger, waffle fries, and the beer of your choice for $20.
And in California dollars, that's really amazing.
It is amazing, and the food
Wow.
is it's like one of the best burgers you're ever going to eat in your life. In fact, we both got them, and I'm like, I remember it being good. I don't remember it being this good.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And that was the thing. We were talking about it. It was like the best 2 burgers I've ever had anywhere is this place and then the 5280 Burger Bar in Denver.
Mhm.
And in some ways, this was a little bit better. Both of them it's hard to really compare without having them next to each other, but this was just the perfect, done it. It's kind of, it reminds me, it's 2 patties. And essentially what they make is almost like a Big Boy. They have their special sauce, lettuce, pickles. So it's like a Big Boy / Big Mac style. And it's huge. It literally is.
Yeah, it's done very, very well. And the best waffle fries I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Hands down. Yeah, so it was a good deal, and we needed to go to the grocery store, and we know there was one within walking distance here, but we're like, well, we kind of want to eat, and there's a Target right across the road from that place. So we're like, well, we'll just go over there. So we went. It was an easy. God, we were there in 5 minutes. It was an easy Uber ride over.
Yeah, it was more like 15, but still, it was only because traffic was building a little bit on the I-5. But it was, we got there, we ate, walked across the street to the Target. It's a little market Target, so it's small.
Yep.
And got what we needed.
Yep.
But I mean, right in that little area, though, when we were there last year, we didn't eat it. Across the street is a food truck that is Triple D food truck that Guy's been to, and it's rated as the world's best food truck. It's won awards that say that. Across the street from that was where the Fernside is. Next to that is a breakfast place we hit up last time we were there, which is an old breakfast place. They have this huge bar in there, which has been there since like the 20s.
Yeah.
And just takes up a huge space. And then they have this little side room for eating. That was great too. So literally right on that little corner is a few restaurants we tried that were really good and one we wanted to try. And then there's an Italian place across the street that looked good too.
Yeah, it was packed on that Saturday night.
Yeah, so that little, and it's all local. So it's not like any people are flying in, going up to Comic Cons. It's all local.
Yeah. That's what I like about how we usually travel out there is we don't, most people stay down in the gas lamp district, and that's where all the tourists are. But we tend to stay outside of that bubble, and to me, it's a much better experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interacting with where the locals go versus the tourists.
Yeah, there's a few of the haunts downtown we like, but it's almost impossible to get into them. You have to get 4 city blocks away in any
and
direction.
The prices too will be double. You know?
Yeah, that's very true. We always like going to the House of Blues. It's one of my favorite places anywhere in the country. But the House of Blues here is fantastic. We went there, I think, twice when we were last time here. We always go.
That was fun.
And I mean, you're right. I mean, it's always good food. It's a good vibe, and you get outside that bubble and you can eat. So it's a good option here. But you're right. It's literally double what we paid last night to eat. Yeah, it is. But
and actually, I've asked with a couple times we've eaten the gas lamp, which has only been very few. We did that during a special edition. That food was good a couple places, but it was higher priced, and realistically, it wasn't even as good as what we had last night.
Yeah,
except for the Ghirardelli place. I always have to stop there. Top notch.
Get in. We walked last year.
Line out the door.
Never could. Not that I wanted, but couldn't even get in there. And then the one time I think we could have, they were like, "We're out of everything."
Everything.
That was the hard part. But so we House of Blues. We got a waitress. I think her name's Morgan.
I think so.
I don't know. That is just a hoot. We've been there a couple times, and Morgan probably could bend you over her leg and break you in half, Scott. She's a tough dude.
Yeah.
But
amazing. Yeah.
Really, really great. 2 times we've been there that we got a special edition. Then last year, just takes care of us, make sure we got drinks, checks on us constantly. Definitely a great server, and it's nice to have, when you see someone like that at these places. A lot of times they just don't care. Yeah, it's fun when they poke back at you. I like to poke fun at people. Oh no, it was the other way around this time. You're like, oh, okay. She's gonna play. All right. Oh, yeah. Well, she recognized us last year.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Oh, I remember you guys."
Awesome. Well, let's get our ad reads in really quick.
Yeah.
Before we jump back into the fun of San Diego Comic-Con, I'll put up Loringer's first. You probably have it memorized.
Pretty much. I've got their Facebook here, so I'll just pull that up too real quick, and or actually with the other. Here we go. Yeah, Loringer Family Chiropractic Center, PC, located in Belleville, Michigan, and Dexter, Michigan. They take great pride in providing the finest chiropractic care to each and every patient, offering on-site digital x-rays. They have vitamins.
Foot levelers.
Foot levelers by orthotics by foot levelers. Young Living essential oils. Occasionally have a couple different CBD companies in there too for the hemp, no marijuana, things like that. But I always go out to the Dexter location. I'll definitely miss not going this week because we're out in San Diego, so I'll be hitting up next week Wednesday. But Belleville or Dexter, just give them a call at the Belleville location, 734-697-4244. Visit them online at LoringerFamilyChiropractic.com, or you can visit them on Facebook at Loringer Family Chiropractic Center, and there you can click the send them a message or give them a call button, and again, number 734-697-4244.
That's right, and there's their website up on the screen there.
Yeah.
And then we also have building the tension, the drama, Team Titans Real Estate. Why? Because you matter. That's right. Even though we utilize the latest in tools and technology to maximize our own buying and selling experiences, we never forget at its core, it's a people business. We always put you first and our relationships with you as well. It's a crazy market right now. I've been studying the stats. Overall, prices are it depends on where you are price point wise and what the market is doing. I'm noticing when I pull up the trends, if I look at the higher end houses, those prices are actually starting to decline. Now, those can be indicators of future things, or they might not. We'll need more months of data to see is this a blip or is this a trend? But so the higher price points, if you have a second home, a vacation home, investment property, and you've been thinking about unloading it, this might be the time to, while you're still maximizing what you can get for it. The houses under 300 are still going insane, multiple offers and everything else like that. So I think the demand is getting compressed down to the lower price points. So if you're looking to buy, give Jill and I a call, 586-232-5144. And if you're looking to list, we'll help you there as well. TeamTitansRealEstate.com.
Yeah,
right.
Well, I got an email from Hasbro, and they have a new transforming robot like they did with the Optimus Prime.
Oh, yeah, the Grimlock.
Yeah.
That is sweet.
So, I mean,
that is insane, the technology there. With the Optimus,
Yeah,
did you see the pre-programmed fight sequences where it's punching and kicking? There we go. Look at this. It's just insane.
Yeah, it's
even the head moves.
Yeah, it's fully articulated. And
it keeps its balance. What's amazing is they're able to fit such tiny motors in there.
Yeah.
But not just motors to make all the parts move, but also the technology to allow it to keep its balance. Yeah. When you see the video of Optimus Prime with the fight moves, he'll put his leg up and do a kick to the side and be on one leg and be balanced.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's nuts.
Yeah.
It's just so crazy.
Awesome.
They have price in there. They're doing it as a Hasbro Pulse, so they're probably doing it as like their version of their Kickstarter they do.
It's like $1,000. I think it's $1,000.
Well, take me out of here real quick.
Yeah, you got to. They'll have a minimum amount of money to raise, and it's kind of like Kickstarter, like Brett said, where if they don't raise enough, it won't happen.
Yes, they did Galvatron, right? Was
Unicron?
Unicron, yeah.
Unicron.
It was insanely impressive when you saw it.
It was huge.
It was literally this big. It was like huge. And you wanted to, it's one of those things where it was expensive, but it was like, God, if you had the money and you really want Transformers, you almost have to buy two, so you can have one as the robot and one as just the ball.
Yeah.
Right. Cool.
Yeah, because that was $1,000.
Yeah, that was up there.
It was at least 800.
Yeah. Do you have the volume on your phone, Brett?
Oh, if I'd had it down.
When you're talking, I'm getting a double effect.
Yeah, no problem. I got it.
Yep. But those Hasbro Pulse things are just amazing. Didn't they do the Mandalorian ship too? And
they did the Razor Crest. Let me just close this up. Something else. About that. Razor Crest. From the first season, they did that, and it was $400, I think, $400 or $500.
Yeah.
And then, the thing is, when they say that, it's like they show it this year, and it's gonna be like 18 months before they come out, because they'll do like several months. It's like a pre-order Kickstarter. They have to hit a certain funding level, and then they go into production, and so that takes a little while at that point. So when the Razor Crest came out, it came out like 2 months after they blew up the ship on the show.
I know. I never understood that. It was such from a marketing standpoint, it was such a well-received ship. People loved the design and the look and everything, and they blew it up in the first season. And then they have all these toys coming out. It's like, that makes no sense.
I thought it was second season they blew it up.
Was it second? Maybe it was. Yeah. Maybe the beginning.
It was a cool ship because he had his own carbon freezing. He had all the little stuff in there. It was neat. And then he blows it up. They blow it up, and now he's got the Naboo fighter.
Right.
Which doesn't make sense to me in the sense that he's a bounty hunter trying to capture bounties. Like the other ship, he had a storage hold, like whether he held them as prisoners or carbon froze them, like you said. I don't know. It made more sense to me having that ship. I like the Naboo starfighter. I wouldn't mind it if they brought that on board too, and he had a place to store it. So if he needed something like that for a specific type of mission, he could use it. But I wish they didn't blow up the Razor Crest.
Yeah, that was cool. It'd be interesting to see if they eventually give him another one if they go on that far. But I mean, really, with Mandalorian, switch from him being bounty hunter to being a little different, protector more of anything.
Yeah, now he's stay-at-home dad.
Yeah,
right.
He's just sitting on his little porch watching Grogu eat some frogs.
Yeah,
crazy.
We'll do a like you guys have done before. We'll do a little walkthrough video at some point.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably just record it and then upload it at some point through StreamYard when we get back to through the Musings / stuff.
Yeah. So you survived at least the trip out there with all the craziness with flights. I've spoken to some people who were actually overseas, and they flew in international, and I guess it was a nightmare at JFK Airport flying back, and where they were stranded for a day or two and trying to get flights and having to sleep on the floor in the airport, and they had all kinds of problems.
Yeah, the East Coast got nailed though with severe storms.
Right.
They couldn't fly out. I mean, it was almost like hurricane style storms coming in.
Yeah.
But of course, they couldn't fly out. So that was the problem for the East Coast.
Yeah. That's why the gentleman was between us.
Yeah.
They were coming back from Rome.
Okay.
They went through Amsterdam, got stuck in Amsterdam for like half a day.
Yeah.
Got stuck in New York for like a day. And then they're flying home. They were supposed to be home like 3 days ago, I think.
Yeah. Well, actually, they're not home. They went to San Diego to meet up with a friend, and then they were going home.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but he's also a former pilot with Pan Am / Delta. So he still flies on the employee discount. So he's like,
he wasn't. Who was it that Leonardo DiCaprio played? Pilot from Pan Am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Catch Me If You Can.
Frank Abernath or something like that.
Was his name Frank?
Yeah.
Some of his stories were pretty interesting like that.
He's talking about being in Germany when the wall goes up and the wall comes down, and different historical events he's seen over the years as a pilot. I finally looked at him and said, "Are you a company man?" And he didn't.
He didn't say no.
Didn't say no.
Didn't say no.
He did some government work outside of the military.
Yeah, that's why he was delayed, is because of all the issues with the flights and we've had the same issue with my day job. We're hearing about issues and some of the other things going back and forth to some of the bigger airports because of some of the turmoil that's going on over in Europe. That part was smooth. And you and I both know it's usually getting out here is usually okay.
It's going back.
Getting home is the one that's always,
which is fine because we're on a tight crunch to get out there. So I hope your trip home is just as easy as your trip out there.
Yeah, we hope so.
We've got an early Monday. It's Delta. It's a direct flight. A few years ago we switched to Delta more than Southwest for these shows because both of us have gone where we get at least 2 bags now, 70 pounds each, so we can makes it work versus Southwest. And the fact that a couple times we tried to do Southwest in the last couple of years, we had to cancel them because it's like, oh, here's a direct flight to Denver. Oh, now we're going to dump you in Nashville and you got to wait 8 hours.
Yeah, they've really fallen apart over these last couple of years. They went, they used to be like rated #1 in service.
Well, they were my preferred for anything.
Yeah.
Anything, honestly, because they had the best options. I mean, every one of their hubs, you'd have 4 or 5 options that if something did happen to your flight, you'd have an option to get home.
Yeah, it was so easy. That's back when I was playing my bumping game where I was volunteering to get bumped left and right, and I just earned so many comps because getting bumped. I even had it where I got bumped, found a flight that got me home even faster, and I made $600 for getting bumped. Right. It's like it used to be so smooth. Now it's just like you don't even know if you're going to make it.
Well, they lost. Crazy. The thing is, they lost a lot of pilots during COVID, and they weren't able to get any new ones really involved there. And there's a lot that took early retirement stuff. They said, "Well, screw it, I'm just going to retire."
Right.
They walked away.
Yep.
So that's been the biggest problem with Southwest, especially. Delta had a little bit of that problem. I think what ended up happening is a lot of these pilots left something like the smaller air companies like that, and they jumped on like a Delta. The bigger companies because they knew that, hey, they're paying better. I can get hired there.
Right.
and they took their retirements from one and they're now flying for another because they still have years they can fly. But the mandatory retirement age for pilots, I believe, is 60. By the time you hit 60, it's a forced retirement. You can't. It doesn't matter how healthy you are, you're done.
Yeah.
And I think it's also a lot of pilots of 8 more because they're just not bringing them in as much.
The average pilot, I think I read this. The average pilot retires like at 50 or something like that.
Yeah,
it's low. It's way lower than you think, because at that point, like Brett said, you get older. They're very strict about eyesight and a lot of other things. So, but they can't fly the big planes, but they can. There's different restrictions,
Right.
But I think the biggest two flight companies that kind of went through it that I know of is Air Canada and Delta and Air France. Those are the three that through all this, but I think they're all tied together. I think it's all the same company, actually.
Probably
one way.
Somehow they're connected.
They seem to be the ones that again, my day job is a big global company. That's the flights everyone books. That's basically regulated now, unless you absolutely don't have a choice. Just because, one, the cost, or two, they don't want you to get stuck in the middle of
right. Right.
Yeah. So I mean, anyone out there listening, I know sometimes the flight's a little bit more, but the reassurance of the support that you're going to get if you do get an issue, Delta is the way to go. I mean, it's not worth $200 saving on a flight if you get stuck somewhere for a day. It's not. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, if you can't go out, leave the place, you gotta wait for the flight, and you get stuck sleeping on the floor at the terminal. It's not fun.
Exactly.
And I just want to let Delta Airlines knows for that plug, it'll be $100,000. Please, you can send it for Odd Musings.
It's a good plug.
Half goes to Kevin though, because he's the one that did it. We pay our talent unlike Hollywood.
Evenly here. This is all right. But
we pay our talent unlike Hollywood.
Well, we did one of our episodes we did a few years ago. We talked about different reward programs, things like that. The key is to get into the reward programs for the different airlines that you're going to fly, and the credit card. I can tell you this: getting the Delta card, it became my main card I use. I don't use my debit card anymore. Pay it off constantly, so you're not incurring debt. I'm not charging stuff just to charge stuff, but it gets you some of those higher levels. It gets you the miles. I probably have booked in the last 10 years 6 or 7 flights that were just paid for by miles that I can think off the top of my head. And all you pay is the taxes. And it's all just by using the card every day and building those miles up. I booked the flight for Denver for Mom and I next month, all on miles. And they have a new deal where if you use the miles and you use the credit card, they give you 15% off the miles. So that's huge. So I booked both of us for around 50-something thousand miles there and back to Denver, and used up a chunk of my miles. But I've already built it back up to over 40,000 miles because it's just it adds up fast. When you hit different levels, they start throwing stuff at you. So look at the rewards for whatever you like. Even Southwest, they have one card. American Airlines does, United, whoever you like to fly usually has a card, and get those benefits because you're going to save money in the long run and get perks out of it too.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: people don't take into account too. Like if you pay it off regularly, it's the same as using cash in a way.
Exactly.
But here's the thing: if you pay cash for everything, the credit card fees are baked into the pricing of the product. The stores have already budgeted for so much credit card usage because it's so prevalent. So you're getting charged for that credit card use, even if you pay cash.
Right. Exactly.
So find a good reward thing. Yeah. Just like right now, like what I've been doing lately is I'll get a credit card that's like spend $1,000 in 2 months and you'll get $150 cash back. So I'll do that, use it, and then I cancel it. And then I get a second credit card. And so I'm getting cash back that way. I have another credit card with rewards that I use. I'll typically earn like $500-600 back annually. They'll send a check. It's my Costco Visa card. I'll get like $500-600 back from them. Right. And all I'm doing is charging my normal things with Costco, my gas and my food, and just paying it off. Like I get home every week, I sign into all my accounts and just send payments, and that way everything's keeping a zero balance.
And people ask me all the time at work, like, how do you travel so much? I mean, I think what they're really asking is like, are you getting paid that much more than I am? But I'm like, well, I said, I use the credit card for everything. I said,
we know the real reason is you're selling foot pictures.
That's right. Exactly.
You're selling feet pictures. I know it.
Exactly. But with a family of 6, I mean, we spend $200 a week minimum at the grocery store. It's usually
it's got to be more than that. That's got to be more than that. I'm spending $200 a week.
Yeah,
on me.
It's insane. So when you take that into consideration, every bit of that goes on my American Express.
Right.
I get points for all that. I have everything set up that I can buy on my American Express.
Yep.
So between the business stuff and personal stuff, I've spent $35,000 already on my damn credit card. Now, mind you, there's a bunch of work stuff on there too, but I only pay for a third of the flights I take. That's how many rewards and points I get. Between companion flights, things they give you, and everything else. We flew the entire family to Las Vegas, the 6 of us. I paid for 2 tickets.
Yeah.
And I mean, it makes it affordable. Yeah. When you can do that, and you're considering you have to pay to fly places for work or what, you have to do that. But then when you have all this banked up and you want to take a vacation, if you can eliminate the flight somewhere, you've cut out a third of the cost of taking a vacation. Yeah. I mean, so that makes it more affordable. Then you can take a 3-day weekend to go to Vegas or whatever. I mean, because then it becomes affordable.
Yeah, with this last Kickstarter I did, I found a credit card that if you spent $5,000 in 3 months, you got $500 cash back. And I was about to place my order. My order for my Kickstarter was $4,000. So I'm like, oh shoot, I can easily put between food and gas in 3 months. I'll easily. So I did that, and a month and a half later, they sent me $500. Boom, easy money.
And then it depends on the card. Like American Express, the other offer I just got, and Brett and I were talking about that, is for being, if you're at a certain level, they offer, well, you can open a savings account. And once you open a savings account, it locks in an interest rate, regardless of what your status is after that. So if your status goes down, you still get to keep that reward as long as you keep the account open. So they're offering a...
That's interesting, though. That shows...
Exactly.
That shows what they're thinking the future is. They're trying to store cash.
Yeah. So, but they're giving you 4% interest on a savings with no minimum.
That's huge.
That's insane.
That tells you what their opinion is of cash moving forward. It's going to be hard to get.
Is like 0.75 right now.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, usually you don't get into like a 0.1 until you have $50,000 to $100,000 in the savings account.
Yeah.
Right.
They're saying you drop $5,000 in this account, savings account, you get 4% back. That's real money.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's $1,000.
Yeah.
That's really what it is, and I don't think a lot of people understand that. So a little perk like that, I mean, that's a better return than what the average has been on the stock market. If you're doing a medium risk, 4K, that's averaging at 3.8 right now. So, I mean, little things like that, as far as the perks that come with these credit cards, when you dig and you look at the different things you get, deals for restaurants,
well, that's what I tell people when they say, "Well, I'd rather use cash." I don't. And the biggest thing I hear from people is, "Well, I don't want the government tracking what I'm doing." They already know.
They're already tracking.
They already know how much money you made, even if you made a full cash business.
If you own one of these, they know everything you're doing.
Exactly.
They already know.
Recently, they're actually talking about all the cash that's going to be started printing down the road here. Basically, it's going to be coded with an RFID tag. They'll know how you spend it.
Yeah.
Well, supposedly they are launching the Fed Now this month too, which is the digital currency for our government. So
so and that's what I told you. I said, if you're not taking advantage of these opportunities, I mean, basically, it's making your money work for you, and this is the way you do it. Yeah. So when people say, "Well, I can understand how they can do this stuff," they're not worried about the government tracking them. They do everything above board, and guess what?
Yeah.
They get rewards out of it.
Yeah. I mean, the system's using you. And they're using your money and everything you do. Use the systems and things that are available for your benefit. You use it back.
Yeah. They're designing the system so the old way doesn't work.
Exactly.
And you can be resistant to it, but it's gonna be a struggle.
You don't get the advantages. So you might as well take advantage of what you can. Yeah. It's not like you're doing anything wrong, and let's be
honest, money isn't worth anything anymore. Anyways.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
money's an illusion.
Well, it is. It's an illusion, but
Well, it's a balance of risk and reward.
Yep.
You know, the best example always is going to Vegas. People are like, oh, I don't like to gamble. And that same person that says they don't like to gamble buys $20 of scratch-off tickets a week, or the lottery tickets. And I'm like, I say, okay, well, so what's worse? Take your $20 you spend every week, blow all that money. That's $5,000-$6,000 in a year. I said, go to Vegas, go to a roulette table and put $6,000 on red. You have a 50-50 chance of winning $6,000. What's your odds during the year on those scratch-off tickets?
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
If you really want to gamble, you just got to have the guts to do it. I mean, instead of buying where it feels like it's safe, save that money back, go to Vegas, plan yourself a trip, walk up to a roulette table and make one bet. And you got a 50-50 shot of money.
And if you really want to gamble, become an artist and do Comic-Cons.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, so you guys are facing all these potential airline crises and all this. We also have the writers and actors strike going on, and it's going to be interesting to see how this affects San Diego Comic-Con.
Well, I think attendance-wise, it won't, because these people have already paid their money to be here. They're coming out regardless.
Yeah, they've had tickets since November.
The complaints I see online, as the people that are like, well, Hall H is going to suck because they're going to have much. They're still going to have all the Hall H stuff because the writers and the producers and directors can still come out because they're not striking unless they are siding with the other ones. But for the most part, some of them will be able to come out. The studios will have a presence. They're not going to bring a lot of the actors out. So you're not going to have, like they did, in 2019 when Tom Cruise showed up to promote Maverick and things like that. The exclusives they had through their portal for the signings, most of those have been canceled that weren't tied into comics. They were tied into shows and movies because that's what they were there to promote. They were to promote their next TV show or movie or something like that. Those have all been canceled, and people can go back into the portal and try to get something else, but there's not much left, I assume. Being that we're exhibiting, we don't have time to go check that stuff out too, is it doesn't offer to us anyways. But for the most part, I like the buzz I'm seeing. Some people finally we're going back to a kind of a classic Comic-Con, less studios, more actual comics, and that's the thing is there's a lot of great comic stuff going on. I mean, we landed, and there's a guy standing with a sign when we got on the luggage says Romita Jr. So John Romita Jr. is back, and a bunch of other guys. And I saw, but there's still some other ones like one of the was $7 Pop. I saw this morning is doing a bunch of signings that are still going on because they just published it, and it's people like Butch Hartman who did Fairly Odd Parents, and they all have pops that they're going to be signing and things like that. And it's it's based on them as the actor or the creator of something versus actually promoting an upcoming project. Yeah. So they are allowed to do that under the SAG-AFTRA rules.
Plus, everyone needs to remember the studios can still come out and promote their stuff. It's like it won't be there. I mean, they're not going to do anything. No, I mean, these companies have spent millions, tens of thousands, if not millions of dollars to do this stuff. They're still going to come out and do their promotions.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But there is a good chunk of people who go to these things who honestly don't care about comics. They're just looking to see the celebrities. And I'm hoping the absence of celebrities will cause people to be like, well, maybe we should go down to Small Press or go down to Artist Alley. And we've never gone that way before. We've always been stuck in Hall H for 3 days.
In which I think the estimated percentage was 12 to 15% of the people that have tickets never actually go in the hall. Never actually go on the
main floor.
Main floor. Right. So hopefully that crowd will finally come out and be like, wow, this is cool stuff. So I'm really hoping there's a surge actually in sales for small independent companies like ours.
Well, see, and that's what I would love to see because when the last real big surge had nothing to do with any strikes, but it was after the Avengers and all that came out, the first Avengers movie, and that we saw that at Comic-Con people were actually coming through Artist Alley, never been at shows and stuff like that, or Small Press, and they were looking for the next kind of thing. I mean, I saw a lot of books then, some art, stuff like that. So I'd love to see these people come and say, hey, you know what do you got? I have independent comics. This is stuff you can't go to the store and buy. You have to buy it from me, or maybe through our website, but nothing that they can't just go to any comic shop because we are a very small press, and it depends on that. And that's something I'd love to see these people actually go on. And I know people have commented that say, "Hey, why don't you go check out Small Press and Artist Alley? There's a lot of cool stuff there you can't get anywhere else."
Right.
Exactly. And people, you want to go hunt down an exclusive, go to an independent comic booth. I mean, buy comics that you never know. Maybe won't be picked up down the road by some streaming company, or who knows what, and could become worth something. Honestly, a lot of those exclusives, let's be honest, everyone who buys them are going to package them, baby them. They're going to be in pristine condition. And 10 years from now, they're all going to be pristine. What makes collectibles valuable is when people open them, play with them, ruin them, and the few that remain become rare.
Well, it's also very few to choose from. Yeah. And the thing with the Funko, people freak out and they want all these Funkos. Well, they're just collecting Funkos to collect Funkos.
Yeah. They're just crack addicts. Jay Brandt.
But it's like when it comes to, at least the way I've always done Artist Alley for the last 30 years, either as a fan or something, I'm looking around Artist Alley / small press areas. I'm looking for independent books to read. I'm looking for stuff I can't find anywhere else. And there's been a few that now that Kickstarter has become a thing over the last 10 years that I was like, oh, I bought from them 15, 20 years ago. Now they have a Kickstarter. Oh, and they're collecting everything I caught from that one issue, so now I can get those.
Yep.
Things like that.
Kevin's got a great story. Robert Kirkman. Yeah. You had the choice between Walking Dead #1 or Battle Pope #1.
I bought Battle Pope, and
you're like, this is much better.
The story, believe me, I love it. But, and then it's all walking down like, and.
But I remember Robert Kirkman being set up in Artist Alley at small tables.
Nobody cared.
Nobody cared. No line. I walked by. I just said hi to him. I didn't know who he was because he wasn't anything at that time. And then all of a sudden, like 2 years later, he's like main guest at giant shows. He's at Hall H.
Well, what did Skybound, which is his company, they're now doing.
They got the licensing for Universal Monsters.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so they're going to be launching all these Universal Monster titles, starting with Dragon.
And he's such a huge fan, so he's the perfect person to get that licensing because he's going to want to do it right.
Yeah.
So that's great. I mean, but.
So when our stuff is huge, you can say I met Brett, Kevin, and Scott way back when.
That's right.
As I've said, you buy my comics, and someday they will be worth tens of dollars.
Right.
Well, which is actually not bad considering, like, how many comics that we would consider iconic aren't worth anything really. If you collected comics in the 90s, everybody collected them. Everyone bagged them. They were all in perfect condition. When I was selling off my comic collection, all the stuff I thought was going to be so valuable, it was worth nothing. Yeah. But then my old 1970s like horror comics that were in crappy condition, I made more money selling those than I did my pristine classics from the 80s and 90s.
And that's what I look for. I like finding old books, and I like collecting the comics to have them because it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I pick them. But like Brett said, I go and find like the trades where they collected like all the Tales from the Crypt, and it's that's that thick, and that's how I read them. And then I want to go and find a couple of the books because, like I said, they didn't take care of them like we do now, So it's the
those are rare,
or it's the books in the 90s that no one thought was going to be worth anything.
So here's a surprising one. So back in the late 80s, early 90s, I collected tons of comics. And when I sold off my collection, the surprising series that made the most money for me was Alf. I had the complete run. I had the complete run. They were all bagged. And I sold it as a complete set. It made me the best money out of anything I had. Because who has that? How many people have that?
The Alf comics, they were great. It was a great read.
It was fun.
Even to this day, it's so popular, but the comics themselves it was all parents buying for the kids, and the kids didn't take care of them.
Exactly.
So collectors are people now our age that say, "Oh, I want to have those," are now going back, and that's why Alf #1 goes for whatever it goes for, and things like that. And if you have a complete run, which is very rare,
do you remember Silverhawks?
Oh God, yeah.
So go try to find a #1 of Silverhawks.
Yeah,
right.
I bought one of them a couple years back and paid $25 for it. I think it's like a $300 comic.
Meanwhile, Spider-Man number 300. Everyone has 10 copies, perfectly pressed, perfectly sealed, at home.
Yeah. It's what you like, It's like some of the ones I have on my wall aren't worth anything to anyone else, but it's what I like. So it's beauty's in the eye of the beholder scenario. Like you said, you never know what's going to be valuable. You don't. You get what you want, and
collect
then
for fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. I stopped worrying about what they cost or if I like it. I like it. It's like I do have one Alf comic I've always kept, and that was funny. I got it because I annoyed my sister when we were younger, and it's him holding up squids. He goes, "Hey, look, Brian's new squids on the block." That was my favorite cover. I just loved it. It's hilarious.
Yep.
But it's stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of stuff I saw a bunch of my comics years back, and because Walking Dead was high, I had issues starting at 13. I didn't have 1 through 12, but starting at 13 is when I got like the trace for the first two, and then straight through whatever it was, 100 something. But I ended up having a couple key issues I didn't realize I had duplicates of, and it was all the Michonne stuff. And then that right there got me a big chunk versus everything else. Last time I was not worth anything, and then that was like my big money pay. It was the Walking Dead, because I got it at the height of the thing now, and now it's going to come down a lot of that stuff. But
yeah,
just a few early key issues because we're limited. The first like 10 to 12 were limited on what they have available out there. Although I do have a signed number 6 because I saw Kirkman at Chicago in 2006, and I bought the comic for cover. He signed it, so I've got that at home.
Yeah. Try and get him to sign one now.
If he'd had issues 1 through whatever, I probably would have bought them all then, just because I liked the series then.
Right.
Until about issue 100 is when I really liked it. After that, I kind of fell off. But
yeah, mine was Umbrella Academy. When that came out, I read the first one. I really liked it, but it sold, but it didn't sell as well as people thought it would. So the local comic shop and the guys I knew there, they had bought shit tons of them. So they had a long box of them and was selling them for they were in the $1 bin. So I'm like, for 1 year for Christmas, I thought it was such a good story. I bought the series, and that's what I gave away for Christmas gifts. So I bought 25 copies of every issue. At least.
Wow.
And giving them away. I ended up still having 8 copies of everything left. And they had the retail exclusives, 1 in 100. So I bought 3 of those. Because they just, all right, well, and I kept them. I loved it. I loved the story. I did the same thing. Then the TV show comes out, and all those are going for $100 a piece.
Right.
At 1 in 100 went for $800 a piece.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think I have some of those. I open up the long box, 8 of every issue. I'm like, yeah. That paid for a vacation for my entire family. I am not joking. Yeah. Entire family to go to Universal for a week, and that's what paid for it. I funded that with what I probably had $40 in it, and I got.
Well, that doesn't compare to your other investment that you still have, but you can't find. You got your $20 in Bitcoin as a gag gift way back when, and you don't have the encryption code anymore.
Yep. At the beginning. Oh shit! Because my friend, when
it was worth $1.
That guy,
he got 20 Bitcoins.
Gag gift, and I'm like, "What's this?" I no idea, but yeah,
you come across that, you're gonna be like.
It's like $100,000 now.
What you're gonna do is you're gonna finally find it when it crashes and it's worth nothing again.
Yeah,
exactly. You're gonna be like, there it is. Oh.
Well, speaking of investments, show some of the commissions.
Oh yeah, so the best thing about San Diego is one of the places I really still do commissions at the table, or I take them ahead of time. So the last couple years, I've been lucky enough to get on the San Diego message board, and they list all the artists that do commissions. So I get a fair amount of pre-commissions to do because you don't have a lot of time at the show. So at the show, I just do quick commissions.
Right.
And it's one of the only shows I still do commissions at because it's tough to run a booth and try to draw.
Yeah, there's a trade-off because you're not interacting with people. You're busy drawing, so you're not selling. And
exactly.
So you end up costing yourself by doing them. And while it's awesome to do commissions at shows and we love doing it, we can't afford to.
So this is one of the few shows I take a bunch of pre-commissions, and then you get to actually spend some time on it. Right. So I had some fun ones this year.
Yeah, I'm going to make it full screen here.
Yeah, so I had someone that sent me a picture of their son, and they wanted them turned into Carnage. So I drew them.
Nice.
He turned into Carnage.
I like it.
So especially when you're doing likenesses, it's so difficult to try to pull those off at the table.
Oh yeah, you're busy talking. You're constantly being interrupted. You have to get up, grab books that you're selling, and everything. Okay, here we got someone's puppy,
and he wanted Wolver Dog.
Oh, okay.
So here is Wolver Dog.
Love it.
I know. This is.
And you actually did it as a paw,
uh-huh.
not as a fist. I love it.
Exactly. Yep. So that's probably my favorite one, honestly. It was a lot of fun to do that, and it looks amazing in person. I'm very impressed with myself, honestly. And then my famous Spidey Venom Carnage that I've had for years. So someone wanted a commission of it all in color. So that's an original all in color.
That's a lot of marker.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun to do. I've done this one so many times, but people love it. It's the first time I've ever done a commission of it in full color.
Honestly. That looks beautiful.
Yeah.
I hope you scan that one in.
Yeah, it's gonna. That's probably the most common thing I've drawn, but it's fun to do these. But you have the time, and then I got the Stranger Things. So that's I'm bad with the names.
Munson and then
Munson and
Steve.
Steve, yeah. So. Yeah, then I've got a couple of sketch cards people asked me for that were simple. So the benefit of that is, before the show started, this is our first year in small press. So the commissions I've done paid for the table. So
that's awesome.
Before the show starts, I'm at least even as far as that goes. So and I couldn't do that at the show. I couldn't pull that off at the show. That one commission would have taken me the entire weekend because you a few minutes and you look away and you have to restart. It's so hard to complete something.
Right. Well, and the other thing too, if you're not familiar with commissions, like experienced commission seekers understand, but sometimes you're like, I understand. It doesn't look like your other work. It's like, well, the other work, I'm in my studio. I'm sitting comfortably. I'm focused. Right. I have all my tools available. Here, I'm hunched over on a chair and I'm talking to people while I go, and I'm getting up, getting down. Yeah. So it's a big difference.
Yeah. Jay Fife talked about that a few times with me. People come up, they see his picture. Oh, I want you to do that for me here. Yeah. You can't do that here. The rendering he does.
Yeah, it takes time.
The blending, and then just doing black and white, blending of the shades and.
Yeah, pay me $3,000 and I'll do it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Time is money, especially at the show.
Yeah.
So my time at home isn't nearly as costly as the time at a show.
Right.
That's the other thing people like. What I'll do for $250 at home looks amazing compared to what I'll do for $250 at a show.
You're doing it in your downtime when it's convenient to you.
Exactly. You're breaking that up over, a couple of days, but
right.
So I do bring a bunch of originals. So I've got.
Let me put you full screen again.
So here is
nice.
There I am. Hey. So I got some originals. Here's the cover to Crimson Shadows #1.
Yep.
Which I still have, so I'll be good. And then we've got. Let's see what else we got. Wolverine reimagining of the Miller #1, Crimson Shadows #3 cover. I've got a Batman Laughs. Got a page from Crimson Shadows #3 that I actually bring up. This is one of my favorite pages.
Yeah.
So I do most of the inking digitally, but this is one of the pages I really like. So I like to print some out so it shows, some of the sequential stuff.
I love it.
Page from Poe, and Aliens. So it's some original stuff that I have available that I try to kind of keep. Page from Poe, Mask of the Red Death. Sid Haig, signed by Sid Haig before he passed away. It's the last thing I have that's still signed by him. Cover from Andy Lee for the trade for Poe.
That's such a great cover.
Yeah, another Batman that lasts. So it's fun. This is one of the shows that you still have some. A lot of people will buy originals.
Right.
So I don't take these originals to a lot of shows because it doesn't make sense anymore.
Right.
So some other originals, some just different fun stuff. So this is one of the few times that you actually can get originals. And San Diego is one of those shows that you want to hit up the artist.
Yeah.
Because if anyone's going to bring out do commissions, have originals, it's in San Diego.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but I'm in small press this year, and I keep reminding people.
Yeah.
Brett's in Artist Alley.
So say your table numbers again. So small press, what are you at?
M004.
Okay,
And then
and
Double
and
D.
Brett-
What?
There you go.
Dolly Parton 12.
Yeah, so if you guys are out there in San Diego, make sure to stop by both their booths. You'll be able to get a lot of cool swag and stuff.
Yeah, I've got a full line of Crimson Shadows books. I got Boomtown Press books. I got Boomtown Scabs, Carl, The Expendables. I brought some of my artwork out. I do have a book of originals of some of the stuff I've done for prints. So I'll have some of that available too.
Hey, I do have to give a shout out to the better half of Team Titans.
Well, you're not on the screen, by the way.
Oh, I'm not on the screen. I got to let me get me on the screen here.
There you
There we
go.
go. Now go
And we
full-
got there we go.
Hey,
Everyone's saying hi.
Hello there.
Jill's in the house, so we'll
Awesome.
be doing some. Wait, did I get
You got to bring Jill out sometime. She'll enjoy hanging out.
Jill's been practicing some dance moves. You want to do your dance
No,
moves?
I'm not good yet.
Bring her out for a booth babe next year. And,
Yeah. So, but so any other highlights? For me, one of the highlights at San Diego Comic-Con is always the Sideshow collectible booth.
Oh, yeah.
So that's probably my favorite spot. I just love their collectibles.
It's
And
so impressive.
Yeah, like I said, I would do some videos, so we'll do like initial walkthroughs, and then eventually one of the days we'll hit side kind of before it opens, so we can get around there real quick and take a quick look.
You just got to kind of hide the camera. Otherwise, no filming before the show opens.
Yeah.
I'm not filming.
We'll go over.
It'll be a little easier this year since I'm in small press. I'm in the middle of the show instead of at the one end.
Yeah.
I think Scott froze.
Probably did.
Hold on. There we go.
There
We're
you
getting
go.
close to 11, and a lot of people are starting to get into the building, so I think the Wi-Fi signal's getting used up. But well, awesome. Any other topics to cover before we end the show today?
No, we'll try to follow us online. Kind of up Kevin Meinert Artists, Brett Pinson Creations. You can follow us through Musings, Bardstone, whatever stuff. We'll be posting stuff on our personal pages if you follow us there as much as we can, because hopefully we'll be too busy to do
That's
a lot
right.
of that.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yes.
And
Yes.
next week we'll definitely do a recap of everything, and
There
then
you
close this year. We're already talking for next year. We might just do one small press for both of us.
That'd be good.
We to be honest with you, I didn't expect to get into Artist Alley. I thought maybe I'd get a small press, and then maybe Kevin get Artist Alley. We just kind of do that. But now as we're talking this week, it's like, with all the books, we keep going that. We're the Crimson Shadow stuff's looking great for the trade and things like that. It's like, we might just do small press, and then it also gives us the advantage of we both have to be at the table the entire time.
Right.
We can actually walk in and enjoy the show a little bit while the other person runs the table.
Right.
So I thought with that too. And then gives us a chance to not feel overwhelmed the entire time just sitting there. And then if Kevin was to get a good commission or something like that, he says, well, I got a commission. Great, come back. I can run the table, selling everything,
Right.
and then he can just not worry about dealing with anybody and stuff like that. So
Yep. And also important, able to go do bathroom breaks. Someone can grab food. All those fun things that are a pain in the butt to do when you're at a table by yourself.
Yeah,
and
well,
you don't think about it at
Yeah.
other shows. I mean, it's always a pain at any show, but in San Diego, it's multiplied by 100.
Well, the thing I'm saying, we're taking sandwiches again, like we've done. Brought our little lunch bags, but it's like one of the things. If we could it, I was like, I know exactly what to do. You go right out the back there by Small Press. You go downstairs. You hit that Mexican food truck. It's never busy, and you get like a quesadilla.
Well, yep. Don't tell everyone.
They don't know where to fit.
All our viewers are going to show up there, and then you won't be able to get it.
They go in that area and they see little food stands up in that little area back there, and they'll stop there. I go out, go down, and I think it was I was a little hungry last year, and I said, well, I'm just going to get some down there, and I got me a burrito and a breakfast burrito, because for some reason we had breakfast at one, I think at the condo, and it didn't last, so got me a breakfast burrito and a Coke, and I think it cost me like $10, and it was huge.
Sweet.
And you can't beat it. That's what you want to look at, stuff like that. Or it's like you say, hey, I'm just going to leave the show and go out into the gas lab and check out some of that stuff a little bit too.
Right.
And then come back and and things like that. Just a nice little break. Or if there's one of us says, oh, there's this panel I want to try to get into, about mechanics and comics or different things, or there's a celebrity panel or something, we try to do that. It's just, that's where we are together to do that, to make it a little bit easier, especially with a show that's 5 days.
Right.
So
Grueling after by Sunday you are exhausted.
Yeah.
And we're not walking around all the time. We're behind the table,
Yep.
It's a grueling show. It really is.
Yeah. But no, we're excited.
All right. Well, join us next week when Brett will be back in town and Kevin will be back at his day job, so he won't be joining us on here.
Yeah, back to the real world.
Back to the real world. All right, guys. Well, good luck this week, and
Yep.
we will catch you later.
All right.